What's up, y'all? It's your girl saying we are back with part 2 to the Vice debate of anti and pro-feminists debating a bunch of topics that most of them have no idea what they're talking about. Let's get into it.
What does it do for you to have a bunch of ramps in your life? It doesn't do I need those ramps, right?
Can we stick to male versus female? That's my question. So I'm thinking male versus female.
But feminism includes ability, it includes race.
No, it doesn't. Your feminism, you're also disabled, okay? You being disabled and needing things a disabled person needs has nothing to do with feminism, because the man who has the same issues as you are going to need that same crap. Like, stop adding your disability into this, just like the two black women keep adding their blackness into this. None of that matters. This is feminism. This is supposed to be men against women. What are the barriers? What are the problems? Y'all keep adding extra to that, and it doesn't make sense.
You guys can talk. Women versus men. Like, what barriers do we need removed? Because that's my statement. I'm not stating anything else. I'm stating women versus men.
It's very silly.
Like, so what barrier?
I just want to question.
How is that silly?
So, yeah, but
it's not a fair question. It's
how is it not a fair question?
Hostile? Pearl, I'm being hostile right now. Pearl is sitting there very calm saying, okay, but what are the barriers? Well, what do you want to know? What are the barriers? Well, I can't answer that as a woman because I'm a black woman. What are the barriers? You don't know nothing because I'm disabled. It's like, okay, but what are the barriers for men versus women? Not color versus color, not disability versus able bodies. What are the barriers for men versus women? You're hostile. You're hostile. These people are crazy. These people are crazy.
Not proving the point of what people, especially black women, other people who are anybody who's not white, why we hear feminism and we don't want that label because it means, I'm just gonna say, it means that. Like, it means that you've already gotten to a pinnacle of whatever you think your happiness needs or whatever your survivalist needs are, when there are people on lower end who are trying to survive, who are trying to get to a point of what should be normal. Based on what other people have.
It sort of sounds like you're saying feminism is not always inclusive then.
Right. It's most of the time it's not inclusive. It's more times than not, it's not. So, and within the just feminism space, again, there obviously the very basic is male versus female versus, you know.
Because that's what it is. That's what it is.
But unfortunately, we've only had one subset of women be the face and voice and the academics and research and everything to be able to say, well, that's the standard we need to be in, when there are other people who are still trying to get to some type of normalcy and just living.
What? Normalcy and living in 2022? So you can't survive and you're not living normal here in America? What are your living conditions? Let's just start there. Because you keep trying to make this a whole other thing. And y'all still didn't answer Pearl's question. What are the barriers? You keep talking about basic, like, you know, it's how people have to live and survive. Everybody got to live and survive. All races, all colors, fat, skinny, medium, dad bods, model bods. We all got to figure out how to survive and make it. What that got to do... Ugh.
What is the biggest issue then that feminism faces?
I think it's the mindset. Women taking like the agency, women taking initiative. I think it's mindset holding them back a lot, because if you want to be in a competitive world and compete, you have to have the right mindset. And I think a lot of people blame their lack of confidence or what society tells them for the reason that they're not achieving what they need to achieve, when that's not the case. You have to have the mindset of achieving, because the men who built the world had the mindset of building it. So the women who want to engage and build that further, they need to have that same mindset.
I don't think we do. I think.
Yeah, it's that simple. Okay, you can't sit here and be like, I want what you got, but you're not trying to do any of that to get there. You're just complaining.
It's like assuming that we all want to be capitalist babies.
Right.
I think that men are not well adjusted in the society, and women are not trying to re-embody what they have built for us. I think that, like, what we're
Men aren't well adjusted in society. The society they built, they're not well adjusted to that.
getting is a very important detail, which is just like human respect and dignity.
Yeah,
and not asking people to prove what their experience is and to prove to you. Like, it is like such conservative thinking to say, like, I don't understand, explain it to me, versus just saying, I don't understand and let me respect what you are saying.
I'm respecting
right?
wherever you're starting.
Where did something get cut out and put in? Because where did that come from? The whole, like, you don't want to hear people's stories. It's like, she basically said, hey, you trying to run things, you need to have the confidence to go do that. Stop being a victim. She basically said, stop being a victim and do what you need to do to get to where you want to go. What is this lady talking about?
Point. I'm respecting that. I'm really respecting that. I'm saying that if you don't have the mindset you can even achieve it, you're never going to even try. So it's never.
Yeah.
What? Like, what are we talking about? Because I feel like you projected this like capitalist ideology on every woman.
Achieve whatever you're trying to achieve. Why are you making this capitalistic all of a sudden? Where did that come from? That's what I'm saying. Vice, did y'all just like randomly splice some stuff together? Because Pearl and there's another woman on the end, I think her name is Sydney. They said 70% of what they talked about got knocked out of this, which is crazy because this is like 44 minutes long. What?
Achieve whatever it is you're looking for, equality, equity. But what I'm saying is women in the feminist space and a lot of these other spaces, we don't acknowledge that we have to take the initiative. We have to take the action. We have to have the mindset. We have to demand those things.
I don't understand how we're getting so off topic. This is about feminism today, whereas everybody wants to make this about their individual, here are all the multitude of other things that factor into my person. Great. This is about feminism. It's about womanhood. I understand that all of you have your own individual experiences and the other things that feed into you as a person. That's perfectly fine. But this is where intersectionality falls off the planet and loses, I would argue, probably the vast majority of people, including me. I'm not even a feminist. I don't give a crap about feminists arguing amongst themselves about who's the most victimized. But this is annoying to listen to. I honestly I don't understand anything anybody's even trying to get at.
Look, I just want to...
Thank you. You gonna get the whole... Thank you. This is annoying. It's like, I don't want to hear that you're more of a victim than this person, because we not. It's 2022. We can literally do whatever we want, even as women. Oh, and for the ones that keep bringing race up, even as black women, or Spanish women, or Dominican, whatever they said, you can do whatever you want nowadays. Okay? Our ancestors, I done said this before, our ancestors, if they were able to just re-pop up right now and live in today for maybe a day or two, they would laugh at the things a lot of y'all complain about. They'd be like, this is what you tripping on? Do you know what I had to deal with back when I was alive? They don't understand how much privilege we have now, especially here in America. That's why this whole thing is a joke. I'm with that chick Sydney. This is annoying. All of this is annoying.
That I don't think equity and this concept of competition can't coexist with each other. Equity is building more facilities for people who need them. It is recognizing that there are holes in the market and there's opportunities for women and feminine expansive people and meeting those opportunities. I think equity can buoy the pre-existing system that we live in a good way.
And this is where we're going to get to what I think the real feminist arguments are based off of policy, and abortion is the biggest one.
How many of you...
Well, that was a random cut. How did that get cut up in there? They weren't even talking about abortion.
You would identify as pro-choice. Let's do a show of hands for pro-choice.
I feel like pro-choice is pro-life, though.
Yeah.
It's not. It's really not. But let's hear the stupid stuff you guys say.
Yeah. Okay, and folks who identify as pro-life, why do you identify as each?
You've gone from legal, safe, rare to, yeah, I'm so proud, let me beatbox in front of a Planned Parenthood, yeah, I got murder on my mind. The fact that it's celebrated that murdering children, especially in late-term pregnancies, is celebrated, that people are so proud of themselves for mutilating a fetus is just, it blows my mind. And I don't think that you need to be pro-life to even take that stand.
And you said late-term pregnancy.
Yes.
A lot of abortions do not happen.
I made the distinction.
A lot of abortions don't happen but they do though. But they do. They still happen that far along. There's still late-term pregnancies. There's still people in the middle portion of it. And there's people in the beginning where, yes, it's still a baby inside of you. And they be like, look at the science. You look at the science, okay? If you've ever watched a video, I would recommend all of you, because I actually did this not too long ago. A few months ago. And even though I was already pro-life, that signified it even more. I watched a video on what an abortion looks like. And they took these little, it looked like tongs that you use in the kitchen. And they ripped the baby's limbs off, limb from limb, one by one. It's sick. It's murder. Like, they ripped the arms, the legs. They ripped everything off and pulled it out. It's very rough to watch. But the only reason I'm saying you should watch it is because once you watch it, if you still have that mindset of, yeah, you know, I still think abortion is cool, something wrong with you. Something is wrong with you if you could watch that and still think that afterwards.
I made the distinction specifically because lots of people still celebrate. There are people who, when the laws were passed actually here in New York, they said, yes, great, yes, I love the fact
but
that...
you need to ask about what are people celebrating, right? They're celebrating access. We're not celebrating killing kids. Like, that's not what it is.
That's what you're doing.
So, like, here's the thing. When we're talking about access to reproductive health and to abortion rights, right, and to being pro-choice, listen, that's your body, you do you.
No. The child is not your body.
A zygote.
A baby.
It's
a
so
baby.
scary for me to hear people.
It's a baby. The fact that this man was like, a zygote, it's a baby. It's a baby.
People calling like guns the biggest equalizer for women, but taking their choices away from them at a policy level.
Why is that?
Having a gun is an equalizer.
It is.
Having rights is an equalizer.
Yeah, that's
Having
right.
choice is
Right.
an equalizer.
Just like a gun right.
And in this country,
41 forms
the
of birth
policies
control.
that are pushed to continue perpetuating patriarchy and anti-women, like taking the autonomy away from women, it is heartbreaking to see women pushing that propaganda.
She's using all the buzzwords to sound smart and big. And it's like you believe in guns, but you want to take this away? It's murder. It's murder. That's really all that is. First of all, I believe everybody should have a gun. You need to be taught proper gun safety. I was taught proper gun safety. I had to go through an NRA course when I was in NJROTC in high school. And we had to take that before we were allowed to even shoot and do a rifle team. Like the actual rifle teams where you shoot and stuff. So like, I believe everybody should have to go through that. Like, you learn how to clean guns. You learn how to proper gun safety and everything. And then you got to be on the range every day. It was dope. I think everybody should have to go through that.
It's all brainwash. Like you.
Oh, it's brainwash because you don't agree with me.
No,
so
I've been brainwashed. I have lived deeply institutionalized.
Man,
I have lived under Islam. I'm not interested in any of that. Like, there's no like guilt for me. No, I'm not interested in like
living,
thinking that like women are doing this really bad thing. Like in my religion, abortion is actually allowed. If the woman needs it, she's allowed, because you know it's very interesting how like fundamental America is. Like fundamentalist.
Yeah, you don't realize most people who get abortions here, abortion is actually like one of our biggest killers for everything, right? So what you don't realize here in America, most people are using that as their first step for safe sex. It's just kind of like, I'm gonna raw dog anybody. It's like, oops, got pregnant with that one night stand, I'm gonna go get this abortion. When there was like a bazillion steps you could take prior to that. One of them, personally, is like, I wish you would just be God-pilled, but I know that ain't about to happen, right? How many people are actually going to wait until marriage to have sex with somebody or find the right partner and spouse to be with? Most people just want to party and have fun, but there are steps on how to properly go with that. It's like, why aren't you wearing a condom, right? Birth control, I don't agree with it, but it's there. Why aren't you using birth control? Spermicide. When you using all the gel or whatever you want to use on your condom and lube it up, why are you not using spermicide? There's all these multitudes of steps. There's like so many different forms of birth control, like things to do prior to the actual act. And it's like, nah, raw dog it. It makes it even scarier because most people, like, you're not scared of STDs. You're not scared of having babies. That's the crazy mindset to have. It's super insane.
This has nothing to do with like even religion. This is very basic, scientific, human rights.
We're also talking about people not having access to abortion clinics where they're doing the things themselves and they...
Abortion clinics are literally in every impoverished neighborhood you could think of, and it was meant to be there because the whole purpose was to take out black and brown numbers. So our population can be dwindled so we can stay the minority. What ended up happening because of feminism, ironically enough, white women ran with it, okay? And now we're at this point where everybody is just sleeping with everybody. Most people, like, you get mixed babies like me. The white race ain't about to be pure anymore anyways. After a while, most of our nation gonna be my color. Once we go down a couple more years. So it failed on every aspect. The whole purpose of it was to kill our population numbers. And it done messed around. Not only is it killing black women, we still the top ones for abortion, but right under that is white women. So, like, you all played yourselves with this whole feminism nonsense.
They die. No. Right? We're also talking about women in the hospital who are pregnant, who have chosen to stay with their pregnancy and have issues at hospitals, and hospitals that are like, oh, no, we don't do that. Listen, for whatever reason, you don't need to explain it to anybody, but a lot of times when we're talking about access to reproductive health, for me, I'm thinking about Black, Indigenous, people of color, particularly women and girls who are working class, who do not have even access to like proper sexual education. It's the oppressive state of...
We all have access. We all have access. You're being lied to. You know how much money gets pumped into Planned Parenthood every year and all of these other abortion clinics? Just...
saying, I will force you to have a child even against your own will.
Nobody's forcing you to have a child.
Especially when you're thinking about women and girls who would be forced to have these children, who are already living in very traumatized and scarce situations. You want to ask about barriers? That's a barrier right there.
Women in poverty aren't able to access the way that rich women are, and no matter what happens, rich women are gonna...
Women in poverty can't access it. Really? I know many women from high school up until now, all right, that they done had multiple, and by all standards, they broke. So who paid for that? Who paid for that? Since they ain't got the access. It's in all the, like I said, it's in all the impoverished neighborhoods.
Gonna keep getting abortions, and people in poverty are gonna not. And the choice, opening it up, the overruling, is marginally affecting people of color, people in poverty, way more than people who are going to get access to those abortions.
Actually, anyway. Incorrect. You're the misquote. There's actually more abortions for people in poverty. It's just at a lower rate.
Thank you, Pearl. Thank you.
Why do you think that abortion has been so tied up in this feminism conversation?
It's all just social structure set up around bodies. So if not all women are able to have babies, but it's about the barriers and value that we give to these specific bodies, right? And so if abortion happens in a woman's body, that's why this conversation is coming up.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You said that not all women are able to have babies or pregnancies. Are you saying, meaning like an infertility issue?
A number of reasons. There's all kinds of reasons that not all women are having babies.
Pearl, I saw your hand up. Yeah.
I think women want to sleep around and not have any consequence for it.
Thank you! Thank you! That's all it boils down to, and that's literally what I said.
You know, taking personal accountability and being on birth control, they just want to like do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's all it is.
You say this like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And of course, the man in the room, you say that like it's a bad thing. It is. You're not supposed to be sharing your body with everybody. You not. This is not how it's supposed to be. It's not how it's supposed to be. And then y'all wonder why y'all have issues pair bonding when you finally find the person you're just like, ooh, this is the love of my life. I gotta be with them. And then you have all these issues pair bonding properly with them. And you don't know how to act with them and be in a relationship because you done slept around with all these different people. There's a whole reason why they say a high body count is not good. Men included. Like, you should not have a high body count, period. But whatever. Of course, the man in the room said that.
It almost sounds like you said...
Can I also ask, do you have any care to empower women, or is disempowering women part of your, like, steez?
How is sleeping around with men empowering us? That's a win for the guy. What? How's that empowering us? Oh, she definitely been lied to. You know, back in the day, men used to have to court women and go on all these dates and stuff before even like getting to sleep with them, right? It was like a whole process you had to go through. Oh, can I take you out? Can we go steady? And all this other stuff, right? Nowadays, it's just like, you may see somebody in the bar and be like, ooh, they look good. Hey, baby, you trying to come back to my house tonight? Okay. And then y'all knocking boots that night. And then once you done, it's just like, well, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. And like, you're getting kicked out of this dude's bed. Or maybe you kicking him out of your bed. How does that empower us? The dude just got what he wanted with no work involved. He didn't have to get to know you. And you know who ends up losing this game? Us. Because we the ones that get pregnant. This one night stand guy, he can like go off. You will never see him again. And if you end up getting pregnant, it's like, ooh, I can't believe this happened. It's okay. Abortion will fix it. I'm good. That's the mindset for them. This doesn't empower us in the slightest. It's stupid.
To see this as shame, insult, guilt, need to be right. Okay. Why is it empowering to sleep around?
No,
Why
what
is
I'm
it
saying
empowering?
is like, I feel like you do like
you.
take, like the way you speak on women is very sort of like, women just don't want to do this. Women just don't have this. Women just want to this.
Maybe I should
and I
change
wonder
Because y'all
why
don't.
you have so much like
Y'all
hatred
don't.
towards
I
women.
don't.
Hatred towards women? You mean being honest and blunt? You know most women don't like it when you're honest and blunt. And I learned that throughout all my years with all my jobs. Because I usually got on with men way easier because I grew up around mostly men. So I have a better understanding of how they operate and think. Like, I don't know how they think 100% because obviously I'm a woman. But I just have a better understanding of them than women. I don't get women at all. Because when you say stuff like this and then they be triggered, they be like, you're so blunt, you're so mean. But you can be blunt with a guy and he'll take it. He'll be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll go do X, Y, Z. You can say the same thing to a woman. She'll be like, why are you talking to me like that? You hurt my feelings. It just,
Where does that root in? It
I don't
sounds
hate
like
women.
you do.
I am a woman. I
That doesn't mean you don't have
I could be
self-hate.
black and still be
Exactly.
internalized
they're trying to say she has self-hate, and then the black chick said internalized racism. Oh, these women are jokes. These women are jokes.
I'm saying specific things that you're saying, like women don't want to work, women don't want to this, women want to sleep around. Where did you learn these belief systems from?
Because
Where is it learned? I'm sorry, do you not live in the same world we live in? Do you not live here in America? Because that's what it is.
okay, the question was, why does abortion keep getting brought up? 40% of women that have had abortions have had 2 or more. 40%. Good for them. So what does that say?
Good for them? Why am I still shocked? Why?
That means you're using it as a form of birth control, and they don't track the 60%.
What kind of abortion?
Can you let me finish? They don't track the 60%.
Lady, come on now. If you're having 2 or more, it's not because you're purposely sleeping around and these are all medical issues. There's no way you and your husband are trying to have a baby and all of these are medical issues. Some women, a very small percentage, yes, but 40% of women all going through that? No, that is a lie. Like, stop. Just stop.
50% to say who in the future has abortion. So to me, it's like, why are they dying so hard for abortion? They want to sleep around with no consequences. Even
That's
though you
all
have
it
41
is.
forms of birth control.
That's all
Who
it
does
is.
that benefit? I don't think that benefits women. I think actually that
Thank
benefits
you.
men because it means that men can have sex with you without consequence. It means that you can sleep with whoever you feel like, great, but there are consequences because women are the ones who get pregnant and carry babies and give birth.
I just said that. She's spitting. This Sydney chick, hold on, look here. We got Pearl. We got Sydney. Even this chick right here, I don't remember her name. They the only 3 with some common sense. And the only good thing about her, the one with the bullet earring, she does not care for abortion. She sounded stupid about everything else. But the main 3 hitters, Pearl, Sydney, and I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but they the only 3. They are the only 3.
These are version of
Yes,
sex.
because sex is binary, but please let me finish my point.
Oh God.
It's tricking women into thinking that aborting a pregnancy, terminating a pregnancy, is something to be celebrated, when in reality, for a lot of women, especially those who are doing it under duress, say that they've been raped, or that, you know, in the small circumstances where something really traumatic has happened to them, that's a medical decision. Or say that they're miscarrying and then they have to, you know, have an assisted termination. That's a medical procedure.
Yeah, and guess what? That's all about 1% of abortions. Out of all the abortions that happen, 99% is because women are using it like birth control. That 1% is for everything else that she's describing right now.
It's not a celebration of, oh, look at this.
The idea, the sort of like moral setting of that it needs to be rare is... I think the delineation between that's a medical abortion and that's like a fun abortion is really interesting, because they're all medical. It's all a medical procedure. And so no matter what you're doing, going in there and getting it, like it's not like, oh, you're only allowed 2. It's just like, you should just be able to get a medical procedure done when it's something that you need done.
No. I'm gonna end it here, but I'm gonna get my point off real quick before I end it. So, that whole difference, if everything was just like, oh, you can only get this because you are a part of the 1%, right? So ARP, incest, ectopic pregnancies, anything else that's medically related, right? All that is the 1% of women that get abortions. If they came out today and said, abortions are allowed only for these things, only for all these medical things that are covered, right? That 99% that literally gets it because they use it as birth control would still be upset, will still be angry, and they would still be trying to fight for it. And I promise you they will. I promise you. They literally would. Because they fighting for it now. And they keep trying to use this 1% factor, whether it's like, it happens all the time. No, it's 1% of all the abortions. Okay? You shouldn't be fighting for that. Especially as a woman of color. As a woman of color, that was meant to keep us down. That was meant to keep our population numbers down. We need to do better as a community. We're gonna end it here. We're gonna end it here, and we're gonna come back for part 3. So stay tuned.